everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the A Traveling Knitter. My name is Steph, and I live in downtown Columbus, Ohio, and this is my February episode. And my head's cut off, so I'm gonna lift it. Was that better? Maybe? Okay. It is the end of February, and I'm going to talk to you and show you the things that I have been working on since I last spoke to you, which is basically a month. I have two finished objects, one completely finished object and one that needs finishing touches like the ends woven in, blocked, and tassels. But first finished object are my stripy Halloween socks. So I'll hold one up, and these are on a very cute sock blocker that I have. So here's what I have left over. I haven't weighed it, but this might be like 50 grams or 60 grams. This is Night Owl Fibers in the Haunted Owls colorway. And I knit these on a 9-inch circulars, a US size 0, which is a 2.0. My socks are just always loose. They're always loose. And they might fit when I first put them on, but after a couple hours of wearing them, they are loose. I am a loose knitter, and so I've started to knit my socks on a US size 0. The contrasting colorway was a, was it a 10 gram mini or a 20 gram mini? It's gotta be a 20 gram mini. What am I thinking? Right? Has to be to get this much yarn out of it. It was from an advent calendar. I could guess it's probably Woolberry's advent calendar from 2019 or 2018. I think it would have been 2018. So made me some stripy socks. I hope they fit. I'm a little concerned because I didn't want to add. So I basically did 2 repeats and then 2 repeats. I didn't want to add another stripe because then I would have been completely off with starting the second sock. But I maybe needed to do that. That or I needed to knit the toe a little bit more. We'll see when I put them on. My other basically finished object is the shawl by Joji Locatelli. It's either like the Circle of Friends or the Circle of Friendship or Friendship Circle or Friendship Shawl, something like that. And I used my hand-dyed yarn for this. Also, it's like super long, and when I block it, it's going to block considerably, right? Like I got a lot of blocking to do. So it used 2 skeins, and I ran out. I ran out of both colors. So here I was thinking, oh, I'm gonna run out of the brown. No, I ran out of the lighter neutral color. So that little stripe there you were supposed to do, and then you had all these baubles. Really, it's the baubles that just ate up the yarn. And then I had to finish up the last bauble in the other color, which doesn't look terrible. And then you may be wondering, but you just said you ran out of this yarn. I did. I used an off-white to bind off. I really, really like binding off, what is that? It's not a 3-needle bind off, but why am I blanking? Like, what is this called? When you have this edge on there. Maybe it is a 3-needle. Even though you're not using 3 needles, you're still only using 2. What in the world? I can't remember. My brain is gone. So I did this, and I actually used the yarn. I used the leftover yarn from another sweater that I will show you in a bit. This is all leftovers. So yeah, I didn't really feel, I actually felt pretty good using this to do the edge. And so I'm actually going to use this to make all of the tassels that are going to go on the bottom. The bind off took like 3 hours to do, just this. And so I really didn't feel like working on cutting and making tassels for an additional 3 hours. So I put this down. There are quite a lot of ends to weave. Well, there's not a ton of ends to weave, but there are ends to weave. So I'll get to that. The additional mods that I did towards the end, I stopped increasing because then you get that like curly cue at the end. So I think the last 2 rounds, I didn't do the increase that it asks for. And otherwise I knit it to pattern. So a lot of knitters, when they knit this, said that they ran out of yarn. And unfortunately, I did as well. I think I even brought, I thought I brought my leftovers. So this is what I had left of the dark brown. I was trying, this wasn't enough to even do just a normal knit round. And then I have even less of the lighter. I think I have 1 gram, like basically trash. So this might be enough to do like the top of a sock, like 10 rounds on 2 socks, so 20. I think this would be enough, but that's basically all I can do with this. And like I said, I'll use this up. I probably won't use all of it, and then I'll end up with, I haven't weighed this either, so I'm not really, sorry for all the different camera movements. If you'll probably notice it because I'm gonna cut me messing with this out, but I just tightened up the gears so that the thing that is holding the light and the phone hopefully stops moving. But I haven't weighed this, so I'm not sure how much is left, but I would say 40 to 50 grams on this guy as well. Maybe even more. This was Passion Yarns. Yeah, this was Passion Yarns in, I think, oyster color. I've got the tag. Sand Dune. So I'm all done with using this for the sweater, and I'll use it for the fringe and then probably for some other color work piece, because I feel like whites and off-whites are a color that I just don't tend to buy because they're not exciting, but they're definitely a color that is usable with a lot of projects. You can always do with some more neutrals that aren't black or gray, which is what I tend to buy. And since we're on this yarn, the project that I am knitting with this, even though I'm finished, is a sweater that I've talked about many, many times. And it is the Vaki sweater. And here's the color in espresso. And here's what I have. So there's my stitch marker. So basically, I have split for the sleeves, and I'm working the front, I believe. And I still have all of it on here, but I do have, there's like, you can kind of see that separation. So this is what I'm working back and forth on. And I'm just using one skein because by nature of knitting back and forth, I thought it's gonna break up any pulling that I'm gonna get. Now, I see it and I'm hoping I can block this out, but we can see that because of catching my floats, it's tighter here than it is up here. So I'm hoping that blocking will help. Now this part is beautiful. It's just these bigger sections of like 16 in the 10s and maybe even 20s where I had to pick up floats across that I did it too tight, which is unfortunate. So hopefully I can block that part out more, and then it won't be as noticeable when you get to this part of the sweater. So like when I do that, it doesn't, I feel like it looks okay. The purple definitely looks very weird in this part because of the almost scrunched upness. I have high hopes for this, and right now it's very relaxing because I'm just, you know, knitting and purling back and forth, and then I will basically do the exact same thing for the other side. Sleeves, neckline. I have a few more inches to go before my next step, but there's no more color work. I think there is like some sort of lace detail or some stitch pattern on the sleeves, but otherwise we are well on our way with the Vaki sweater. I wish I was further along with this, but I'm still making progress. Another project that you haven't seen on the podcast for a bit is the Savion cardigan. And that is by Audrey Borrego of Yarn Flakes podcast and designer. And this is what I have done. So not a ton from the last time you saw it, but this is just a slow and steady. I don't have a deadline. I'm, not rushing to finish this. And it is just, it's not like, it's mindless, but with a pattern. I do have to kind of look at what I'm doing every now and then to make sure I haven't shifted the pattern. I can't really knit this in the dark, but it's beautiful. I really love the stitch pattern that is on here. I think it would make for a very cool pair of socks as well. So Audrey, if you watch my podcast, have you thought about using this as socks? And if you have, or you already have a sock pattern, I probably need to look through. I've been a Patreon supporter for 2 years now, or going on 2 years. And so I have quite a lot of her patterns. I'm a big fan of what she puts out, and I love how open she is with her design process and her thought process and how she picks colors and shows you her designs as she works on them. And so I cast this one on. The yarn is amazing, but alas, it is Hey Sister Yarn Co., which they no longer dye. So unfortunately, you can't get this yarn. It is an MCN, so it's a merino cashmere nylon. It is really soft. I love it. And doesn't ultimately matter since you can't get this yarn, but the colorway is sepia. And here was their yarn tag, which was just very pretty. This whole time that I've been trying to film this, my stand keeps like very slowly dropping, and then I notice it because my head gets cut off. And so I just went and tightened it, and I flung the like star screw into my mug of tea. So it's in here. And I'm just gonna drink. Can you hear that? My tea is too hot for me to grab it, but yep. Cool, great. So good. Okay, so then the next thing I have to show you is a new cast on, because that's right, I casted on something new. And let me show you the bag. So this is a Magner from Athens, Georgia. It is waxed canvas and very, very reminiscent of a certain bag. They even have the same pocket placements, and the bottom is boxed, and they've got the leather handles, although this has two. Yeah, this to me is like a bigger fringe field bag, and I love it. I love it. I love this style bag. I like how big it is. I've never had a waxed canvas bottom. It does have a very waxy feeling that is kind of weird. It does collect dust, hair, fluff all on this bag, but that's okay. I cast on a Missoni Accomplished sweater by Espostrico. I had bought this yarn from Knit Picks. This is the Daydream DK, it's DK weight in pewter and rose quartz. So pewter has a bit of a pinky tone, and then rose quartz definitely has like a mauvey pink look. Love them. They were limited edition. I don't know if I think Daydream itself, the yarn line, was limited edition, but I loved knitting with Wonderfluff to make my 2 any day sweaters. And so I thought I would grab this instead. And Daydream is 69% superfine alpaca, 24% nylon, 7% merino. And and like I said, it's DK, whereas Wonderfluff is bulky, I believe. This is a great price point. I forget exactly how much this is, but it's maybe like $5, $6, $7 a ball. Honestly, it's probably not even that much. But yeah, so this is like a cotton tube netting kind of deal with the fibers blown through. And this is how much I've done already. So there's the top. All of my like ChiaoGoo small cables are currently on projects. I would say it's probably they're like all on the that tank top that I was working on, because I know there's like needles on, or there's yarn on hold and stuff for that one, so I bet you quite a lot of the cords are over there. So I only had a 8-inch or 12-inch cord, and then I have a 36. So I was working very, very scrunched, and then when I just did this last increase, I put it on the 36. I probably, if I had the other sizes, I'd be on a 24, and then the next round of increases, I would have jumped to the 36 at that point. But because I don't have them available, I went ahead and did it for now, and honestly, it's fine. It's a little bit stretched, but not terrible as I'm knitting. So you can kind of see like this would be perfect if it was just this long. So the rest is just a little bit stretched. And this I know is going to be a mindless knit, just like the Any Day sweater is. I've never actually knit anything from Espastrico. They have quite a lot of patterns. They're very popular and they're free. So I was really drawn to this one. This is the one, I mean, it's free, so it's not that big of a deal to show you pictures or show you the pattern, but it's this one with the kind of zigzaggy stripes. Missoni is a brand. My familiarity with it is that Target carried Missoni, so I'm pretty sure that's what this is based off of. So I'm liking it. I'm really liking it. What I'm doing a little bit differently is, so I didn't swatch because it's going to be kind of it's going to be an oversized sweater. I'm going to have, so I'm knitting size 2, which is a 43.75 inch bust circumference. And they say that you want 10 to 12 inches of positive ease. So knitting the 43.75, that is going to give me like 11.75 inches of positive ease, so basically 12. My gauge is always like I need to drop down needle sizes to get gauge, so this is going to be even bigger than that, but I'm fine with that. I'm actually thinking of knitting this a lot long, not a lot longer, but knitting it longer than the pattern calls for. We'll see when I get to it. I know I don't want this one cropped. Since I have the other 2 fluffy sweaters that are cropped, this one's definitely not going to be cropped. I'm very excited to knit this, and I'm just like looking at the colors. Like 10 years ago, me would not have picked these colors to knit as a sweater. I don't know if 5 years ago me would have picked these colors, but now I'm really into these muted, like gray brown toned pinks, peaches, oranges, almost like desert colors. I'm really liking them. And the last project I wanted to talk about is in this project bag. I haven't started it, but I want to. I really, really want to. So I wanted to just quickly talk about it. This is going to be the Coastal Crop Raglan, which is a DK sweater. And I'm going to be using City Tweed in Toad, and this is another Knit Picks yarn. So it's like a dark olive green tweed yarn. I saw the sweater before it came out, and I was even debating on signing up for the test knit for it, but in the end I changed my mind because I felt like I wasn't going to be hitting the deadline. When it comes to test knits, if it's a sweater and it's like a 6-week turnaround, I just can't do it. I just can't. I do a lot of things during my day-to-day. I work a full-time job. I work out almost every day. I have outings with friends that I organize. I do a lot of things, and having such a tight deadline just doesn't work for me. As much as I would like to be able to dedicate 5 hours of knitting every day, I just can't. I can't. So I knew that I loved this pattern, and so I decided to just wait for it to come out, and I had bought yarn for it. I even, set it up, put it in this bag, ready to go. And then it's just been sitting in the corner of my living room. And now's the time. So I'm not sure if I'm going to cast this on before, like there's a lot of sweaters on my needle right now, or a lot of garments that are on my needle, which is normally not the case. I would really love to have this sweater done. This is the Vaki sweater, but I still have a lot to go. And to be honest, I might finish the Missoni Accomplished one first, because that one is probably gonna breeze by, but we'll see. This is definitely gonna be my next sweater cast on that you see. I'm being a little vague there because I'm doing some like secret knitting, really just so that I can have like different style content on my channel. And that is a sweater. So this guy, I just want to put it out in the universe that I will be casting this on in the next 3 months. So predictions. I like doing predictions. What do I think I'm going to have, like, where am I going to be on the next episode? Or where do I want to be? My thoughts are that I will most likely have cast on another pair of socks or finished a sock that is on my needles. I have like a couple just floating around, so I might pull that in. I think I will have really no noticeable difference on this. Like I might do less than 10 rows or something. So I don't think this will get very far. I would love to have the front and the back and started on the sleeves by the next time I podcast. Honestly, in a fantastic world, I would have this finished by the next podcast, but that is a lot of knitting that I need to get through. And I do believe I will probably have the Missoni Accomplished finished. So that'll probably be what's happening. You're gonna see the Missoni Accomplished finished and nothing done on the Vaki. I think that's what we're gonna see. We're gonna either see Vaki have a lot of work or Missoni Accomplished have a lot of work. And then the last thing I wanted to show was I dyed yarn. So here's a skein of yarn that I dyed. I started with the gray and then I added green over top. So it looks pretty cool. I don't have plans for any of the things that I dye. I'm just kind of playing around. Thank you so much for sitting and watching, or standing. I don't know what you're doing. Thanks for watching the podcast. I do appreciate it. I appreciate the comments you leave me. I appreciate the thumbs up. I laugh at the thumbs down. Like my last video where I talked about how I document how I read, I got a thumbs down on, which was interesting. I'm curious as to why this person not just didn't like the video, but felt the need to tell me they didn't like the video. Like it was just an opinion video on how I do something. It wasn't even an opinion on how other people do stuff, but yeah, so that was that. Whatever, that's fine. I don't know. Do you guys thumbs down videos? I just don't care enough. I should thumbs up more videos. I think I've talked about this before. I watch most of YouTube on my TV actually. And so it's just like a little bit more annoying to go in and thumbs up a video. Sometimes if I have my phone next to me, then I'll do it. But yeah, so if you're thumbing, wow, that's a weird phrase. If you give my videos a thumbs up, thank you. I really do appreciate that. That does make me smile. If you leave me comments, I also really like that. Follow all the social medias or don't follow them. Totally up to you. Yeah, that's it. I will see you in my next video, which is going to be the book episode for February. So hope to see you there. Thanks. Bye.